Welcome back to Strange Adventures, everyone. I have been very excited to share with you all of the amazing games that have been made for the Vampire Jam. I made one myself. You can play it for free. And in fact, you can play all of these for free. There's like 80 of them. I haven't played them all. But if you are into a good vampire visual novel, a lot of people made those because it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? There are only a limited amount of days in the month to make a game, and a visual novel is a very easy or comparatively easy game to make. I'm not going to say it's easy. Making games is hard. So, well, first off, congratulations to all the people that did make them, because I know how tricky and painful it can be. But I wanted to share some of the ones that I enjoyed. So I'm going to split it into this video, which is about non-visual novels. If you're not a fan of visual novels, this is the video you want to watch. I love them, but you know, you can only play so many in a row. So these games all have awesome things about them that are non-visual novels, and it comes in a variety. There's puzzles, all sorts. So let's just get started. We're going to begin with Prodigal. It has incredible art. This animation in this game is just so nice and evocative of not only the turmoil that the main character that you play is, but it also fits really nicely into the kind of point and click adventure style that the developer has made here. I really enjoy the fact that it's kind of got that a little bit of that point and click moon logic in it. It took a couple of tries for me to get through a couple of challenges, but like completing the story is possible, and I think that's really important for a game jam game. Finishing the whole thing is something you can do in one sitting, and it has a really satisfying story to it that not only delves into some cool vampire lore, but it also doesn't like baby you. It just focuses on how the characters feel and how the story is using like different parts of the character's past and mysteries and all of that just kind of ties into vampire lore. And it's not like one of my least favorite things about VTM, which is the vampire fun facts challenge, or at least that's what I call it, when people are like, oh, and this character went here, and this group went here, and this is the power of these people, which, you know, is all interesting and useful stuff, but really focusing on just two characters in this game and their relationship really brings it to a more narratively satisfying place. It's a cool little Tremere vampire magical chantry to do, and you get to make a vampire potion, which is really interesting. You can put whatever you want in it, and you'll get told off if you put gasoline in there and bleach, but do it anyway. Second off is Praxis. This is a strategy game where you get to move your characters around a map. It's very simple. It's a very simple idea. You drag your character counters to a location where they get resources. It's resource management. And I love the Crusader Kings 3 mod for Vampire the Masquerade, but it's much more complicated than this. And this is like specifically built to be about taking over a city. And it has some really nice story bits as well. You go to a place, you fill up the timer, and you either get a resource or you get like a social encounter where you can decide to use a power to feed, or you can decide to try and get someone on your side or do a job for them, which unlocks more places around the city. One of the things I'm going to say a lot about basically all of these games is if these were fully fleshed out and had more than, you know, a month spent on them, because that's the limit, and unfortunately you're not allowed to update the games or add anything new to them past the end date, which is a real shame, I will say that. This is a really nicely thought out strategy. You have interesting stats for your characters. It boils them down into the important things that you're going to use, like fighting, talking, willpower for like re-rolling if you get a failure, or sneaking, composure, awareness, like super important things. So it's not like a huge character sheet on your screen, which can get overwhelming when you're just starting a game. But no, this really builds up, and you collect more characters, and you have more locations around the thing that you can spread them out. So you make money, you make status, you make deals with the Primogen to take over the city. And it's very simple. The story isn't like the main thrust of it, but it's a really nice strategy experience, and I recommend you play it. It won't take long, maybe about an hour. Number 3, we are talking the Chantry Trials. I really do love Tremere, and it shows in my picks, I guess. You are a neonate vampire learning about blood magic. You go to various rooms in a mansion that have trials in them, little puzzles. Very smart, very tricky puzzles that you have to use your ability to sense the unseen. It'll reveal things in the room, like text or instructions or secrets, or, things you can interact with to try and solve the puzzle. Very clever, very quick, but also very simple, which is nicely scoped for a game jam, and it looks pretty cool as well. I will say, I know the person that made this, and also the little spiel at the beginning, the introduction, that's me talking. So maybe I picked this because I'm in it. Who knows? But it is a really good puzzle game. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I cannot finish the final puzzle, which is very annoying. Number 4, I picked for the art and the concept, which it's probably the quickest experience in this list because it's literally 2 RPG battles. Look at this! They use this shadow puppet theater style really effectively. It looks gorgeous, the colors are amazing, and the beginning of the story, it's very compelling to try and save a witch from being burnt. It's cool and very short, but it proves itself in that time, which is why it's so impressive. So just play. It'll take like 5 minutes and you'll have a good time, and you'll play a quick cool RPG set in vampire. Number 5 is Heartless Lullaby. Pretty easy to tell that this is based off of Disco Elysium, which I haven't played yet, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna get the comments about that. My friends are gonna be like, why not? But it's very easy to immediately tell that this was inspired by a game, and it's won awards, so why not steal the good stuff, right? And it works. It starts off a bit slow. I will say I didn't enjoy the first like 5-10 minutes, but if you stick with it past that, you will get into it. There's some really nice intrigue in there, and obviously this kind of neon light-based art style is very, very cool. It's easy to see things you need to interact with. The characters you stumble upon in this club as a mortal are, they're arseholes. They're clearly vampires, and figuring out the mystery of what they're up to, why they're there, is really intriguing. I kind of like that it hits a lot of the vampire tropes, like the really hot Toreador vampire struts in through the front of the club without talking to the bouncer, and you, as a mortal, when you start playing, your head turns and you're like, whoa, that redhead's hot. Don't know why I did that. But yeah, it also does it from a split perspective, so you play multiple characters to get this whole story. You gotta explore the level a little bit, and it might take a while for you to figure out where to go next to get what you need to progress, which is it tends to be a pain with this kind of game. The dialogue's kind of cheesy, but I love that. Definitely play it if you've got an hour to spare. Number 6 is probably the most difficult recommendation because there isn't a tutorial. It is a card game. You put the cards in various places around the board to gain resources, which are comprised of either characters or blood, or because you're an elder, and this is called the Game of Elders, you can diablerize your followers just stave off the beckoning, the thing that is calling you away, and will end your game if you get too many of the bad cards. Yeah, it's a very tricky game to get started, so either you can experiment for a while or you can follow my instructions here, I guess. What you want to do is put your followers in your this box to the left, or you can put them on the kind of battle board in the middle to fight. You put the information cards in the box to the right, and that will give you more followers. You can also use the sacrifice card to pair up with the followers to sacrifice them and eat them, and use the effects of Diablerie in this box with the skull to either put blood in there, or the effects of Diablerie to stop yourself from getting hungry and creating hunger cards that will end your game if you get 3. But put together multiple cards, experiment. The resources are used for multiple things. Each different clan provides a different resource or skill that you will need to progress and fight. What I would love to see in this game is a more clear kind of end point or point getting, kind of, you know, European board game style point getting to see how far you are from winning kind of thing. But overall, it's a really cool concept, just needs a tutorial or some clearer stuff on the cards. I don't know, but it's genuinely awesome idea if you're into board games or card games and vampires at the same time, which is sort of a given seeing that you're here. Last but not least is a kind red motel, which is very cute. The little kind of scratchy art style drawings of the vampires, very cute. The puzzle sees you putting these vampires in their hotel rooms with their various requirements, and they will affect the vampires around them, which will give you more or less a certain amount of win points or fail points, and it judges you on how well you do, so I can only assume that there's a certain amount of things that you can mess up on before you get a failure, and there's not very many levels, so you can dash through this in like 15 minutes. It's a really fun puzzle, very well made, and you know what? Simplicity is brilliant sometimes. All of these games, and mine included, will be linked in the description, so if you want to play them, tell the developer how you feel about them, give them some feedback please, because it makes them feel good and it helps them out. And if you're wondering about my podcast Stitch of Fate, then season 3 is still going well. We're partway through. Definitely go and subscribe to the Pod by Night channel, because I'm not hosting the Stitch of Fate episodes here anymore, or you can get it on any podcast platform. I think that's everything. Merry 2022 everyone. Catch you later.